The journey of self-discovery and growth is often compared to climbing a mountain. In The Mountain Is You, the mountain symbolizes the internal challenges, fears, and self-sabotaging behaviors we must face and overcome to reach our fullest potential. It's not a physical peak that stands in our way, but the emotional and psychological barriers within us. These obstacles might manifest as procrastination, fear of failure, self-doubt, or patterns of behavior that keep us stuck in places we don't want to be. By confronting the mountain within, we learn that growth is not about becoming someone else, but about uncovering who we already are beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and insecurity. The journey is not easy, but it's transformative. This book provides readers with the tools and insights needed to face their mountains, dismantle self-sabotage, and emerge stronger, more self-aware, and ready to step into their authentic selves. Chapter 1. The Mountain Is You. The concept of the mountain is an intimate metaphor for the obstacles we face in life, but at its core, it represents something even more profound. It is you. The mountain is not an external challenge. It is the internal resistance, fears, and limiting beliefs that we carry. To overcome the mountain, we must first recognize that it exists within us. Many of the struggles we encounter are self-sabotage in disguise. These moments of self-sabotage are often not deliberate, but stem from deeply rooted emotions and beliefs. For instance, procrastination might not be laziness, but fear of failure or perfectionism. Avoiding important decisions might not be indecision, but a fear of change. The mountain, then, is not a single problem to fix, but a reflection of the inner work we need to do. An essential part of climbing this metaphorical mountain is understanding why we resist change. Change, even when positive, threatens the safety of the known. Our brains are wired to prioritize comfort and predictability, which can lead us to cling to habits and situations that no longer serve us. For example, someone stuck in an unfulfilling job might avoid seeking new opportunities because the unknown feels riskier than the dissatisfaction they already know. The author emphasizes the importance of awareness in breaking these patterns. When we become conscious of our behaviors, we can start to see the ways in which we hold ourselves back. Self-awareness is like shining a flashlight on the dark corners of our minds, revealing truths we might have avoided. For instance, acknowledging that a pattern of failed relationships stems from an underlying fear of intimacy allows us to begin addressing the root cause rather than the symptoms. To truly tackle the mountain, we need to develop emotional intelligence. This involves understanding and managing our emotions rather than being controlled by them. Emotions like anger, sadness, and fear are not enemies, but signals pointing to deeper needs and desires. By leaning into these feelings and exploring their origins, we can begin to untangle the knots that keep us stuck. For example, someone who feels constantly overwhelmed might discover that their stress stems from a need to set stronger boundaries in their personal and professional life. This chapter also explores the concept of resistance, which often manifests as excuses, distractions, or negative self-talk. Resistance is the voice that tells us we can't, we shouldn't, or it's not worth the effort. Overcoming resistance requires patience and compassion for ourselves. It's about taking small, consistent steps rather than expecting to leap over the mountain in a single bound. For example, starting a fitness journey might begin with a single walk around the block rather than an intense workout regimen. Ultimately, the mountain is an invitation. It challenges us not to conquer, but to transform. The journey up the mountain is one of self-discovery, healing, and growth. As we climb, we shed the parts of ourselves that no longer align with who we want to become. The peak of the mountain is not a final destination, but a symbol of our potential, of the life that awaits when we align with our truest selves. Chapter 2. There's no such thing as self-sabotage. What we often label as self-sabotage isn't a deliberate act of self-destruction, but rather a protective mechanism rooted in our subconscious mind. These actions, which appear to work against our goals, are often our mind's way of shielding us from perceived threats, discomfort, or change. Behaviors like procrastination, avoiding opportunities, or clinging to unhealthy habits stem from a conflict between our conscious desires and subconscious fears. Every seemingly counterproductive behavior has a purpose. For instance, procrastination might stem from a fear of failure, where delaying the task feels safer than confronting the possibility of falling short. Similarly, staying in an unsatisfying job or relationship might arise from a need for security or familiarity, even when it hinders personal growth. These actions aren't random. They're attempts to preserve emotional or psychological equilibrium. The patterns that drive these behaviors often originate in childhood, where coping mechanisms were developed to navigate challenging circumstances. A child raised in a critical environment might learn to avoid risks to evade failure and judgment. As adults, these same coping strategies can hinder progress, creating a subconscious pull to avoid situations where failure or discomfort might arise. Self-sabotage reflects an inner conflict between the person you are and the person you want to become. Growth requires stepping into unfamiliar territory, but if the subconscious mind associates that growth with pain or loss, resistance emerges. For example, someone striving for personal success may find themselves holding back because they associate achievement with loneliness or alienation, stemming from earlier experiences. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to transformation. Awareness allows for identifying the unmet needs driving the behavior and addressing them directly. Instead of battling procrastination or avoidance, it becomes possible to understand the underlying fears and rewrite the internal narrative. Over time, this process creates alignment between your conscious goals and the subconscious mind, paving the way for sustainable growth. Chapter 3. Your triggers are the guide to your freedom. The things that upset or unsettle you are not random. They are signals pointing toward areas of unresolved emotional wounds or unmet needs. Triggers, whether they come in the form of criticism, rejection, or uncomfortable situations, are opportunities for self-discovery and growth. When you feel disproportionately affected by a comment, situation, or interaction, it is often a sign of something deeper at play, a reflection of your inner world rather than the external event itself. For example, someone who feels deeply hurt by a passing comment about their work might not be reacting solely to the words, but to a long-standing fear of inadequacy or a desire for approval that stems from earlier experiences. Triggers are mirrors that reflect what you need to address within yourself. They can show you where you feel insecure, where you need validation, or where you have been carrying unresolved pain. Instead of avoiding or suppressing triggers, the key is to lean into them with curiosity and self-compassion. Ask yourself why certain words or situations elicit such strong emotions. What story are you telling yourself about this event? Often, triggers are tied to outdated beliefs or narratives about your worth, potential, or identity. Rewriting these narratives allows you to break free from the emotional chains that hold you back. Triggers also reveal the areas where you've outgrown certain dynamics or patterns. For instance, feeling a surge of frustration in a particular relationship might indicate that your boundaries are being crossed, or that you've evolved beyond the role you once played in that dynamic. These emotional reactions are signals that it's time to recalibrate your boundaries, expectations, or engagement with certain people or situations. Freedom comes not from eliminating triggers, but from understanding and mastering them. By doing so, you reclaim your power and choose your responses consciously rather than reacting automatically. This process shifts you from being a victim of circumstances to becoming the architect of your emotional and mental well-being. Each trigger, when approached with intention, becomes a stepping stone to deeper self-awareness and lasting personal freedom. Chapter 4. Building Emotional Intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the cornerstone of personal growth, resilience, and meaningful relationships. It's not about suppressing emotions or intellectualizing them, but about understanding and working with them in a constructive way. Developing emotional intelligence begins with self-awareness, the ability to recognize and name your emotions as they arise. This step alone can transform your relationship with yourself. When you can identify what you're feeling, whether it's anger, sadness, or joy, you gain control over how you respond rather than being swept away by the intensity of the emotion. Self-awareness is only the starting point. The next step is self-regulation, which means learning to manage your emotions without denying or repressing them. For example, when faced with criticism, instead of reacting impulsively or defensively, you can pause to assess your feelings and respond in a way that aligns with your values. This ability to regulate emotions not only prevents unnecessary conflicts, but also fosters inner peace and resilience. Empathy, another pillar of emotional intelligence, deepens your connection with others. By stepping into someone else's shoes, you gain insight into their motivations, fears, and desires. This skill is transformative for relationships because it allows you to respond with compassion rather than judgment. For instance, when a friend lashes out in frustration, instead of taking it personally, empathy helps you see that their behavior might stem from stress or insecurity. Social skills, an outward expression of emotional intelligence, involve effective communication, active listening, and conflict resolution. People with high emotional intelligence excel at creating harmony and understanding in their interactions. They know how to express their thoughts and feelings clearly, without aggression or passivity, and they can navigate disagreements with grace. Building emotional intelligence also requires cultivating self-compassion. Many of us are our own harshest critics, berating ourselves for mistakes or shortcomings. Learning to treat yourself with the kindness you would extend to a friend fosters emotional stability and confidence. This shift can have a profound impact on your mental health and relationships, as it models for others how to treat you and themselves. Emotional intelligence is not static. It grows with practice and intentionality. By engaging with your emotions rather than avoiding them, you build a foundation for personal freedom, resilience, and connection. Each moment of emotional struggle becomes an opportunity to refine your understanding of yourself and others, making it an essential skill for climbing any personal mountain you encounter. Chapter 5. Releasing the Past. Holding on to the past can feel like clutching a heavy weight, slowing your progress and keeping you stuck in patterns that no longer serve you. Letting go is not about forgetting or denying what happened, but about making peace with it. Releasing the past starts with acknowledging its impact on your present. Often, unresolved pain manifests as self-sabotage, limiting beliefs, or recurring triggers. Recognizing this connection is the first step toward liberation. One of the most significant hurdles in letting go is understanding why we hold on in the first place. Sometimes, clinging to the past provides a sense of identity, even if it's tied to pain or failure. Other times, it's about fear. Fear of losing the lessons learned, fear of change, or fear of the unknown. Letting go requires confronting these fears and asking yourself if the story you're telling about your past still aligns with the person you want to become. Forgiveness is a vital component of releasing the past, but it doesn't mean excusing the behavior of others or pretending it didn't hurt. True forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the emotional chains that bind you to the event. When you forgive, you reclaim the energy you've been spending on resentment or anger and redirect it toward healing and growth. For example, if a betrayal left you wary of trusting others, forgiveness allows you to approach relationships with a clean slate rather than carrying suspicion and hurt into new connections. Another aspect of letting go involves releasing the should-haves and what-ifs that tether you to regret. These thoughts trap you in an endless loop of self-blame or longing for alternate outcomes. Instead of focusing on what could have been, shifting your perspective to what can be empowers you to take action in the present. Consider the lesson or strength you've gained from the experience and use it as a stepping stone rather than an anchor. Rituals can also help create closure, symbolically marking the end of a chapter. Writing a letter to your past self, acknowledging your pain and expressing gratitude for the lessons can be cathartic. Some people find release in physically letting go of the letter, burning it or burying it, signifying a fresh start. These acts serve as tangible reminders that you've chosen to move forward. Releasing the past doesn't happen overnight. It's an ongoing process of self-compassion, acceptance, and patience. You may find that certain memories resurface from time to time, but with practice, they lose their emotional charge. Letting go is not about erasing your history, but integrating it into a narrative that empowers rather than limits you. When you release the past, you lighten your load, creating space for new experiences, growth, and joy. In letting go, you reclaim your energy and focus, making it easier to climb the mountain of your personal transformation. Chapter 6. Building a New Future. Releasing the past creates the space needed to envision and build a new future. Once you've let go of the weight that has held you back, you're free to focus on what lies ahead. But creating a future that aligns with your deepest desires requires clarity, intention, and action. The process begins by redefining what you want your life to look like, free from the constraints of past limitations. Building a new future is not about achieving perfection, but embracing possibility. It requires you to shift your focus from what's missing to what's possible. Start by identifying your core values, passions, and long-term aspirations. When you clarify what truly matters, you can set goals that align with your authentic self rather than the expectations of others. For example, if you value creativity, consider how you can infuse it into your daily life, whether through a career change, a new hobby, or reimagining how you approach existing responsibilities. Creating a vision for your future doesn't mean avoiding challenges or pretending obstacles won't arise. Instead, it's about becoming resilient in the face of adversity and learning to navigate setbacks with grace. Resilience grows when you view challenges as opportunities to learn and adapt rather than as failures. For instance, if a plan doesn't go as expected, analyze what went wrong and adjust your approach. This mindset transforms obstacles into stepping stones for growth. Action is the bridge between intention and reality. Without it, dreams remain abstract and unattainable. Start small, focusing on consistent habits that move you closer to your goals. If your goal is to improve your health, begin with achievable steps, such as daily walks or preparing nutritious meals. Over time, these small actions compound, creating momentum and reinforcing your belief in your ability to shape your future. Equally important is cultivating an environment that supports your vision. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you. Seek out communities that align with your aspirations and encourage your growth. If you want to pursue a new career, connect with mentors, attend workshops, or join networking groups in that field. The right environment nurtures your potential and keeps you motivated during moments of doubt. To build a new future, you must also develop a strong sense of self-discipline. Discipline is not about deprivation or rigidity, but about making choices that serve your long-term goals over short-term gratification. For example, if financial stability is part of your vision, it might mean prioritizing saving over impulsive spending. Each disciplined choice reinforces your commitment to the life you want to create. Finally, cultivating gratitude and mindfulness can help you stay present and focused as you work toward your goals. Gratitude shifts your attention to the progress you've made rather than the distance you have yet to travel. Mindfulness grounds you in the present moment, preventing you from becoming overwhelmed by the enormity of the journey. Together, these practices help you appreciate the process of building your future, not just the destination. Your new future isn't something you wait for, it's something you create, step by step, day by day. By aligning your actions with your aspirations and surrounding yourself with supportive influences, you set the foundation for a life that reflects your true potential. As you build this future, you'll realize it's not just about reaching the summit of the mountain, but about becoming the person capable of the climb. Chapter 7. From Self-Sabotage to Self-Mastery. The journey from self-sabotage to self-mastery is the ultimate transformation. It's the shift from being your greatest obstacle to becoming your most powerful ally. At its core, self-mastery is about understanding that you hold the tools to create the life you desire. It's not about controlling every outcome, but learning to control your responses, habits, and mindset to align with your highest self. The first step towards self-mastery is recognizing that self-sabotage often stems from fear, whether of failure, success, change, or the unknown. To master yourself, you must confront these fears and understand their root causes. By naming and acknowledging them, you strip them of their power. For instance, if you fear success because it brings new responsibilities, acknowledging this fear allows you to prepare for those responsibilities rather than avoid them. Self-mastery also involves cultivating emotional intelligence, not as an isolated skill, but as an integral part of daily life. It's about recognizing your emotions, understanding their triggers, and responding rather than reacting. For example, instead of allowing anger to dictate your words during a disagreement, self-mastery enables you to pause, process, and communicate constructively. This shift not only improves your relationships, but also fosters inner peace. A critical element of self-mastery is the ability to set boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, but frameworks that protect your energy, time, and mental well-being. By learning to say no to what doesn't serve you, you create space for what truly matters. For instance, declining a draining social obligation allows you to focus on rest or meaningful personal projects. Boundaries empower you to prioritize your growth and protect your progress. Mastering yourself also means becoming deeply intentional with your choices. This requires clarity about your values and goals, ensuring your actions consistently align with them. Intentional living isn't about rigid perfectionism, but about mindfulness. For example, if financial independence is important to you, self-mastery involves evaluating every spending decision against that goal, ensuring each choice contributes to your vision. Resilience is another cornerstone of self-mastery. Life will always bring challenges, but self-mastery enables you to approach them with strength and adaptability. It's about seeing setbacks as opportunities to grow and staying committed even when the path feels uncertain. For example, if a personal project fails, self-mastery allows you to learn from the experience and refine your approach rather than giving up. Equally important is self-compassion. Mastery isn't about being unyielding or hypercritical. It's about balancing discipline with kindness. You will falter, make mistakes, and have moments of doubt, but self-compassion ensures you treat yourself with the grace you would offer a close friend. This kindness fosters resilience and keeps you moving forward without being weighed down by guilt or shame. Finally, self-mastery is an ongoing process. There is no final destination, only continuous growth. Each step forward builds momentum, and every small victory strengthens your belief in your ability to succeed. The act of striving for mastery itself becomes a source of fulfillment, proving that the effort is as valuable as the outcome. From self-sabotage to self-mastery, the transformation is profound. You go from standing in your own way to becoming the architect of your life. As you harness your fears, emotions, and choices, you unlock a limitless capacity for growth. With each step, you realize that the mountain is not your enemy. It is your teacher, and the climb is the process through which you become the person you are meant to be. In conclusion, the journey through the mountain is a metaphor for life's challenges, growth, and self-realization. Each step, no matter how difficult, brings you closer to understanding yourself and embracing your potential. The process of transformation is not about eradicating the mountain, but about learning to navigate it with strength and clarity. Every struggle, every moment of self-doubt is an invitation to grow, to adapt, and to rise above what once held you back. By confronting your fears, understanding your emotions, and aligning your actions with your true desires, you gain the power to shape your life into something meaningful and fulfilling. Ultimately, self-mastery is the realization that the power to change your life has always been within you. The mountain is not an obstacle standing in your way. It is a reflection of your inner challenges, waiting to be overcome. When you climb it, you become stronger, wiser, and more attuned to your purpose. The greatest lesson is that your struggles are not your end. They are your beginning. By facing the mountain, you don't just transform your circumstances, you transform yourself. And that, more than anything, is the essence of a fulfilled and intentional life. Thank you so much for listening and joining us. If you enjoy the audiobook, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more book summaries that can expand your mind. Drop a comment below to let us know which book you like us to explore next. We look forward to bringing you more valuable contents right here on Page by Page. Until next time, keep learning and growing.